and welcome to my channel. I hope you're doing well. Today I am going to be crafting with the Spellbinders Glimmer of the Month for September. I've already glimmered this, so this design comes in, the plate is half of the design. So what I already did was I glimmered it once, rotated it, and glimmered a second time, and I didn't quite line this up so that if it could fit, I think, perfectly on a USA 2 size card if you rotate it correctly, which I did not do. So I am going to have to figure out how to work with what I have, because part of it is actually cut off. Part of the design is cut off. This is a series of flowers that have a separate glimmer plate. There's also a glimmer plate for the little leaf design as well, and both the flower and the leaf design have coordinating dies that will cut them out. And I remember when I first looked at this set and I did the little crafty haul video, I speculated as to whether or not these glimmer plates and dies were of the sort where you have foil all the way to the edge, and that indeed is the case. So that's pretty cool. So you don't have that white outline that you sometimes get with the coordinating dies. And it looks like the way that you can tell is it seems like that flat metal area is just extra thick, thicker than what a normal sort of glimmer border would look like. The flowers looked a little too plain to me, so I am just taking a couple of my alcohol markers in 2 shades of pink, and I'm coloring them in. And you can color over the foil and just wipe it off. If it dries a little, you can use a little bit of your blending marker, your 0 marker, to just sort of wet that a little bit if you color over your foil and you just need to clean it a little. And this is like a very quick way just to add a splash of color. Also, if you have any difficulties with foiling onto colored cardstock, it's a good option for that as well. I didn't think about foiling this onto colored cardstock, so that's why I'm doing it this way, but it works out really well because then you can kind of add all of the shading and dimension to the flower that you want. So I have a handful or so of these little flowers. I did use the little leaf die, but I used it on its own because I think that it holds its shape. It's still a very definable shape, and so it works pretty well on its own as a sort of a standalone die cut. You don't have any detail of the vein design, which is what the coordinating glimmer plate would give you. And I do have that, several of the single leaves cut out, and there's also a separate die that will cut out like a little stem or kind of sprig of foliage. And what I'm doing is I'm gonna trim down this so that it looks a little bit more intentional, that the design is a little bit kind of off angled. And so I did still want to square this panel up, but I'm cutting it in such a way that that diamond shape is just like a little bit wonky, a little bit off what you would normally expect, because you'd probably expect the points of the diamond to be top and bottom, but here I've rotated it just a smidge so that I can stretch that design kind of across an angle on this card. And that allowed me to sort of trim off the sections where I didn't get a complete foiling. So I think it's kind of unusual, a little bit kind of unique. So just a happy little accident. And here I'm auditioning kind of how I want to place these flower elements around this gorgeous foiled leaf design. And I do want to try to keep it pretty clean and simple. So from some scrap white cardstock, I have embossed, this is a plaid. This is one of the small embossing folders that is perfect for a USA 2 size card. And so I've embossed just this bit of scrap, and I'm going to put that at the top and bottom of my card with my foiled panel sitting in between. So that gives some texture to the background, and still, because it's white on white, it still kind of keeps the focus where all of the foiling is, but it just doesn't quite look so plain. And for me, sometimes it's hard just to leave blank white cardstock, and whenever that's the case, I always reach for an embossing folder. And I thought having something that was a little bit more geometric would be a good contrast to the florals on the foiled design. The edge of these I'm going to line with my Love from Lizzie's pinstripe stickers. That sort of gives this a nice sort of clean border where it's going to overlap or meet with the embossed design. So I think it sort of cleans up this edge a little bit, makes it a little bit more definitive. And I just happen to have the this shade of green that matches the foil actually pretty well. So I was really happy to find this. And it's not a perfect match, but it's pretty darn close. And I think it just helps to really make the sort of that cut off design of the foiling seems a little bit more intentional to me this way when it's kind of lined with this extra strip of foiled sticker. So I love these pinstripe stickers for that reason, because I feel like it just helps to really clean off an edge, especially where usually I use it where I'm butting up maybe a pattern paper with some solid color cardstock, but in principle this is kind of the same. I'm butting up this foiled panel against embossed panels, and at this point I really want to make sure that when I stamp my sentiment that it's going to stamp well. And so I'm gonna stamp, this is actually from an earlier I think it's a stamp of the month from earlier this year. And I did, because everything's so shiny with the embossing, I did want to apply some clear embossing powder to this. But you want to be really, really careful because the foil doesn't react very well to heat. So that's why I actually melted the embossing powder from the back of the card. And I did make sure to let my heat gun really, really warm up so that it doesn't have to get applied very long to the cardstock in order to melt that powder. And the other thing you could do is just hold it a little bit further away and try not to get it too close to the foiled area, because you're going to see your foil kind of react to that heat. Now what I'm doing is just applying just some scrap cardstock. This is just to help level things off a little bit because parts of this panel will overlap the embossed panel, and I already laid down some of my low profile foam which helps to, it's a little bit thicker than my cardstock, and so that's why I needed to add just an extra little bit of cardstock on to the top and bottom, and that'll level everything off so that it doesn't have sort of a saggy middle. And now it's just time to decorate this lovely foiled frame design. And so I've die cut all the foliage, the leaves, and this little sprig here from some rose gold mirror cardstock or foil cardstock, which pretty closely matches the rose gold foil that I chose for the flowers. And so that is also another happy accident, because I think that foil cardstock is from, I think it's from Tonic. So it's really nice that to be able to sort of combine so many products from different brands and have them work so beautifully together. So I am going to try to kind of stick to that rule of odd numbers. So I'm going to have 3 sort of groupings or clusters of flowers. And so I have one that's sort of framing my sentiment with a single flower. I've got this one where I've chosen to have a little cluster of 3 flowers, and I'm just building out the leaves. So I used my 3D, my Collal 3D glue gel to apply my leaves to the card, and that glue gel takes a good bit of time to completely dry. So it gives me a lot of time to kind of sneak additional elements underneath, like the leaves and additional sprigs that I want to add. And if I need to nudge the flower around a little bit, I still have plenty of time to do that. Plus, it adds a little bit of dimension too. So it's a lot easier for me to work with a glue gel like that than applying little dots of foam to my flowers. And so this will be my 3rd cluster, and this one will have 2 flowers. And again, just tucking these individual leaves in along with the sprigs just to create a little floral spray. And that is going to just about finish up my card. The last thing I found in rose gold were these are solid round confetti sequins, and they're actually from Cat Scrappiness, and I think though that Spellbinders has similar sequins. I just don't happen to have it in this color, and I don't know, I haven't checked their website recently to see if they have it in a rose gold. But they do have similar sequins to these where it's like a sequins, but it doesn't have the hole punched out of the center. So I really, really love that. And then in this mix, there's actually 3 different sizes. So you can kind of sprinkle them or, put them around your card and have little clusters of different sized sequins. So love that. I hope that you enjoyed this card today. If you did, please consider liking, commenting, and sharing. And I would definitely love, if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and ring the notification bell. Thanks so much. Until next time, happy crafting and have a fantastic day. Bye.